That's never good.
We live!
Holy shit!
Oh my God,
Do the sound check, please.
Is it the upcoming?
There we go.
Damn
Sound check is
right.
complete, y'all. Welcome back, Sugar Spice Everything Dice. Game of Cones.
Yes.
The backpack moved.
Don't mind anything.
Don't
it's
mind
just
that
gravity.
Fucking, what a weird sense of gravity. You
Oh
only
God,
have
am I
5
blonde again?
potions left.
I think I'm blonde.
Fantastic. You're blonde again?
Almost.
Well, now I'm pink and
Blonde
purple.
right now. Yeah.
We are working our way. We are working our way up. Let's do the little episode summary. Everyone can say hi. And,
Hey!
and then we'll get right back to what in the world was occurring. Tangela, you will be up first for all of that. Speaking of which, this is a continuation of Dimension 20's The Crown of Candy. Of course, it's fan-made. Of course, it's unofficial. Please don't sue us.
Not associated with Dimension 20 in any way, shape, or form.
But only because they won't return our calls.
I did at them on a tweet, and they never got back to me.
Oh,
I tried asking for permission. And
Brandon.
Brandon.
Brennan.
Brennan.
Hey, Brennan. Hey, buddy.
Brandon,
Woo?
get back. Get back to us.
Any of them, please get back. Zach
Lou Wilson?
Lou
Oh.
Wilson, Emily Axford, Brian Murphy.
wanna
Sorry,
talk.
Brian Murphy. I forgot you there for a moment. Or Brennan, baby Brennan. Ooh.
Ooh, Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Big baby Brandon.
I was utterly unaware of their body work right up until the invite to join this. And now that Google has accepted that my interests skew that way, I have unlocked so much content. It is so good.
It's wonderful.
Earth-shaking, truly earth-shaking.
Fantastic.
Last time on this game of cones,
We did it.
the group Sugar Crash, which is the working name for the group of adventurers that we have here, had gone into the newly formed Western Candia, beyond the former existing Western Candia. Up there, they had quite a few adventures in the tundra-esque space, coming across Banan-knights and coming across chocolatier natives. Last episode, specifically, or leading into the last episode, they had come across a trio of pumpkins. The Gordians is what they were known as. They invited them back to camp after their exciting adventure in the chocolate village, charming their leader, Pungent Gold, the Durian King, king of fruits.
I'm still. Was he actually in charge there? Or was he just sort of? I don't know.
It is hard to say. The group had sort of some back and forth dynamics of the Banan-knights knowing that the pumpkins are outlaws, and the group pulling all sorts of social maneuvers so that the pumpkins wouldn't find that the bananas were there, and the bananas wouldn't arrest the pumpkins, so that they could get a chance to question the pumpkins as to why they were able to do things with the golem, and why they were able to help out at all, and why they were even there. Why?
The heck's going on, man?
They only got a short way through that conversation before Sir Clovis, the Banana Knight, returned back at full speed in a charge to arrest or eradicate the pumpkins.
It's not how we do things here.
Little did Sir Clovis know that the leader of the Gordians, Percival, the son of the Marquis of Pumpkin Patch, had intercepted one of their letters, some secret missive between the banana Sir Clovis and Tangeline's family, House Citron. They captured Sir Clovis because it was out of line of him to try and murder another noble, no matter what the stakes were.
And also just murdering another person is just kind of not cool, man.
And that is where we left it, in
right.
the interrogation tent.
Interrogating.
With the big old stinky man sticking up the tent.
Oh my God. I don't know why Pungent Gold would be in the same tent. Why would he need to be?
It was
Passive
so to make
torture.
it
Intimidating.
torture and
Passive torture.
Oh my
passive
God, that
torture.
is passive torture.
That is his
So
existence within an enclosed space.
He was being very
boy!
intimidating by doing push-ups. I love that the cats love the center and the light.
Yes.
Almost every stream we have now starts with a cat in the middle.
It has its right
As
and
it
just.
should.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. What do you say, little man?
This is now cattail ASMR.
It could be.
Hopeful.
It could be.
Yes.
Any questions? Any comments?
Let's see.
Plenty concern. No.
Plenty
Any
concerns.
Plenty
What are
concern.
concerns?
Let's see.
Well, welcome back, everyone. We have Dakota playing Jacoby. We have Oceana playing Tangerine Marmalade. We have Samwise playing Kit Kat. And we have Doc playing Carvanonga Devian. Speaking of which, we have all of our minis finally. Unpainted, for the most part.
They're
This
plenty.
one. This is that one.
I
Carvanon's
not
sword
like
immediately
base.
broke off, but I
Oh.
repaired it for now. And Jacoby's shield also broke
I
off.
wasn't quite finished with him yet
Oh.
because I haven't put him in any I haven't posed him or given him sword.
Oh, well,
He's
hopefully
very
we will
fit.
be able to do.
This
Some
will be,
of
but
that.
this is so good. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I love the little honeycomb shield. Makes me so fucking happy. Oh, this little honeycomb shield. Little funky little hair, little guy. Oh.
Oh,
I love my little kitty meow meow. My slimy little kitty meow meow. Sticky little kitty meow meow.
I think the tiny wings are like my favorite part.
I know, they're so cute. They're non-functional.
non-functional.
100% they're just for decoration.
Non-functional.
Oh, even Jacoby doesn't know why they're there.
He wants to feel closer to the bulb.
Exactly. They're just a little. What if one day I could fly, though? Consider.
When rapture comes, they will unfurl.
Precisely.
Let's hope that I'm not the DM at that point.
No,
That sounds truly horrifying.
Apocalypse Edition. A Crown of Candy Apocalypse Edition. I would watch that. That sounds like an interesting campaign.
The Great Moldening.
Oh god. The Great Moldening. Enokia arises once more. Oh.
I'll put a hand on the shoulder of our captain, Banan-knight. You know my reputation. I wish always a diplomatic solution. What happens if we release you at this point? What do you do?
It is clear to me that I should depart for the capital or stay with you at your discretion. I would be concerned after the attempted arrest for the safety of my men in the presence of the outlaws.
We will deal with the outlaws on our own terms.
I see there was no concern for our safety when you betrayed us.
Truly.
Give me one good reason why I should not split you in two.
I cannot see why you would split me in two for trying to bring outlaws to justice.
This does not pertain whatsoever to the contents of your message.
The contents of my message.
Yes.
I did not send you any messages.
The one in the Citron family script? The encoded one that you thought that you would sneak around, sending back and forth?
Can I not speak to my own family?
Explain yourself.
What is that sound you have just made?
I am also.
That's my Durian boyfriend's sword sliding in the little in the crease.
In the crease of a banana.
Mhm. What is, milady, if I could ask, what I am also unfamiliar with what threats we are making to nobility here. I just want to make sure that
This threat has been made against me.
Why did you leave home?
What business is that of yours?
I was pressed into the Imperial Army. I didn't have a choice. You did.
This is correct.
Why did you make the one you did?
Well, you see, leaving to go and serve your imperial masters, you entwined yourself with a plot. The entire contents, I'm sure you were not fully aware of. Back home, House Citron, as you may well know, was governed with the iron fist of our grandmother.
I was aware.
And she was swayed so thoroughly by Plumbeline.
Our far cousin, may she rest in peace.
Do you not know what deceit, what deceptions, what malevolent intents she held? Not just for the family, but for the countries, for the empire itself, for the very emperors that you now serve.
I admit that we are perhaps ill-informed of the specifics.
She tried to kill Amazon. Multiple occasions.
We were at war against Candia.
And now you are a betrayer to the original cause by serving the former king of Candia. Where does your allegiance lie? No one knows. Do you?
With my home and with the Emperor, both in Fructera.
A man who served two masters serves only himself.
Give an inspiration point for that one.
Here's your inspiration coin.
I'm not quite sure of any of the allegiance going on so far. I don't trust this banana any goddamn moment.
You should not trust the banana.
However, from this perspective, you are trying to be judge, jury, and executioner, which is not abiding by the laws.
As I have said, he bears no allegiance to any country. For the conflict of interest is not a sustainable.
What can I say? You have me in a position that I cannot refuse anything that you are stating.
So
Lest
what
I
are you
end
doing
my
here?
lest I end my existence.
What do you want from me and my people?
As a member of your family, I want for you to go home. They say they miss you very much.
Is this some sort of ploy to get you back?
As I'm sure they do. I'm sure they've offered you quite a tempting reward as well.
They have, as you would know.
They have hired you to come and find me here?
I was already here. They did hire me once they knew you were here. But I assume it was your mother who missed you very much and who would offer their coin for your return.
How did they find out that she was here?
I believe that answer might be my fault and therefore would end me. If it is not obvious, it is me.
So there's no peace for me here if I release you, is what I am come to understand.
If it is any consolation, I did not know the specifics of why you are so resistant to go home. I merely mentioned that we had found another family member here.
The overthrow. For context, for all here who are not aware, the Bulbian Church has infiltrated the former imperial government. Plumbeline, my darling cousin, was part of a plot to seize power when my uncle Vono passed away. She knew she would not be permitted to inherit the crown and rule over Calorum as the concordant empress. Therefore,
This is correct.
she enlisted a group of very devout church members and made an arrangement to offer them more power, more influence. She seeded these deceptions throughout the kingdom and infiltrated the structures that upheld the Concord itself, with the intention of dissolving the entire empire, deserting Candia, deserting all those who are not Bulbians, and forming functionally a whole brand new Concord. All so that she could stake the throne for herself.
Establish a new theocratic empire.
Yes.
This
To do
makes
this, she enlisted wild magics from the various kingdoms. She herself was not a Bulbian, but a warlock, as were the primogenies of her church. She sold lies to these believers. She sold lies to her very grandmother. And I believe that there is some semblance of this organization she has created still thriving in Calorum to this day. Though they may not know it, my family has participated in this the entire play.
Unknowingly assisting the very end of the empire they support.
They do not support the empire.
They don't support the empire at all?
No.
It's true.
They support the Bulbian Church. And the Bulbian Church's interests are tied up in the destruction of Calorum as we know it.
How high would this go? I doubt every practitioner of the Bulbian faith would be anti-imperial. They are healers.
As we know it, at this moment, there's no way to be certain. For many of the key players were killed in the original conflict 1 year ago. However, around the same time, I was informed through various means. I became aware that my family intended to arrange for me a marriage, to whom I am not certain. However, the inquiries were passed along to my mother from my grandmother, from Plumbeline herself, which leads me to believe she did not have my best intentions at heart when she made these arrangements or these agreements with whoever. And therefore, I elected not to participate.
So they wish for you to return to marry you off.
Making
This
all
is
respect.
Yes. Which is why my inheritance is available for ransom, for dowry, for whoever. Because they intend to make
Political marriage.
yes, the political, to bond the families. I'm sure with some high-up Bulbian and some other kingdom to create a bond and allow them to take more power. I'm not sure, I don't believe that my grandmother has any ill intentions for me. However, the suitor, if she comes from Plumbeline, I do not trust.
I do not want to make this about me. But you think I had all of this in mind when I was bringing you home?
No, I think you're an idiot, and you're just doing what you're told.
He is silent.
He knows what's on the line.
He's gonna be a proud asshole if he could die right now.
So is this in mind? Knowing that you have this information, you'll be tracking my whereabouts, I am sure. Just sending them back to your masters in all directions.
No. With that,
You have
absolve me.
lied to me on multiple occasions now. You slippery.
You are not looking very appealing, sir.
This is the most banana in Mario Kart shit I've ever seen.
And so my subjects may want to spare you. I think that they are not fully aware of what the consequences may be in store for them if we allow you to leave.
Milady, we could use him. Perhaps to throw your own family off the train.
What would happen if he said you are dead? These chocolate men, they savagely ripped you apart.
I am not above such things.
We know.
The bulb will forgive.
It apparently does.
Bulb is conveniently
It's conveniently forgiving of crusade-like activities.
Like, really specifically non-confrontational with these things. I appreciate that. For other reasons.
Perhaps
50% of the party is Balbian. At least. Kavanaugh and Jacoby are both Balbian. One of them is probably true Balbian, and one is Balbian. This is probably a little uncomfortable for Jacoby.
Yes,
a
Jacoby is just
character.
sort of like shrunk into the corner, just like hands in their lap, not like kind of eyes to the floor, like looking like they want to say something but dare not speak up in the presence of nobles.
Jacoby
fully
is
ignoring.
very, very aware that the Balbian Church has had its dark moments, and that they're not all sunshines and rainbows, but there is so there are people in it that are good-hearted. Much like any world religion we've sort of experienced in the real world.
I guess Jacoby might be thinking about it from the pure, like being a pure Bulbian, right? How do they view the corruption of the church and using it for political gain?
I mean, is this an in-character question?
No, this is not in
Well,
character.
yeah.
This is more so I want to know your philosophy if you thought about it.
I think that Jacoby kind of grew up. Jacoby never had family. They grew up with their brother and the church, and that was it. And family, as you know, you don't really get to pick that. There are people who do terrible fucking things in your family. You can't, like, there's no denying that, oh God, that shit's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean you just group them all together and throw them away all the time. There needs to be. They kind of view it as something that's been corrupted and needs to be fixed.
How would Jacoby think about fixing? I guess that now I would bring in as
The
if
character.
Jacoby were to say anything of a solution oriented while we're figuring out what the heck to do with this prisoner. Would Jacoby say anything?
It's fairly clear that these people have been friends with you long enough that if you speak up, they will not kill you
No.
for being Balbian.
Yeah.
But
We
you
understand you
well
come from an
outnumbered.
actual pure place.
Yes. I think Jacoby's still like kind of like their mind is reeling a little over the fact that like, oh, you have a family who wants you back and you've run away, and what could have been so horrible that had been the case?
So in the meta, Tangeline has kept Jacoby at arm's length intentionally because of the Bulbian, the hardcore. With the understanding that like it's none of my business what you do, but also that I don't trust that as a motivation. Speaking up now that like Tangeline has said plainly that there's corruption in the church would bring a little bit of that trust to the table.
Yeah.
However,
just like the direct look is like more devout.
if you double down now and you're like, no, the bulb knows what's best, that will probably become a point of contention.
They're definitely not like, oh yeah, no, nobody in the Bulbian church has ever done anything wrong. They're like, nah, there's some fucking losers out there. It's rough, buddy.
Did go to jail. The Pontifex did go to jail, and so did the Mace of the Faith, Karen Deep Group. That is public knowledge that they were corrupt enough that they needed to be removed from power.
Yeah.
Would corruption like legit offend?
I'd definitely say, yeah, they're not.
Needs to be reset. It's not connected to that.
Oh no!
Continue. I'm merely pressing buttons. It's me behind the screen. Do not pay attention to the man behind the screen.
The stream is
It's just your little butt.
It's great.
It's butt.
It's your little
It's
butt.
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 Woo! Oh yeah, baby!
Yeah.
You
In the
may not
gray
see
sweatpants.
May not be seen for you.
That my
Yeah.
good
Get it.
twisted figure. I didn't put that on stream for long enough for us to get banned.
Yeah. I think Jacoby would just sort of like speak up quietly. Yeah, if I may say something, really.
She turns to you intently.
I do not know much of your family. I am not the most knowledgeable of Fructeran politics. But is it at all possible that your family simply wishes you to be safe?
Is there a reason to believe that I am not safe in my current circumstances?
You
You are very safe with us.
Other than my family himself?
We are currently out in the wilderness being periodically attacked by strange chocolate men and their massive golems. We have been attacked at numerous points in time throughout this journey, and I would say that this entire situation is, on average, less safe than what you would be in Fructera, as is evident by Sir Laurent's passing.
I see. But you see, are you familiar with what a water dagger?
I've heard of them, yes. I've never handled one in person.
Suspicious squint.
A water dagger? You said?
As you shouldn't. They are water steel with something that was.
If you need
What
help.
is the Calorum equivalent of like the Geneva Convention?
What laws?
We're both the name and the Concord is both the agreement and the document. that
Okay.
is signed.
Does the Concord have things against water steel?
Very much so.
Yeah, makes sense.
It is a biological weapon.
No, it's fair.
Water steel is the most highly toxic substance, one of the most highly toxic substance known to any Calorum inhabitants.
It is
Yes.
both Candians who are extremely vulnerable and Ceresians. You ever put bread in water?
Yes, the Ceresians also did have mold.
Yes. Alfredi was
Alfredi
holding
was-
on to mold.
Bioweapons. The Bulbian conspiracy within the Concordant Empire was harboring bioweapons against Calorum. Do you believe that's the safest environment for someone like me?
I would say that those who have been holding on to such schemes and have been plotting to overthrow the empire in such a way have brought great shame to the Bulbian church.
I'm not living any this in you. I don't believe that you are aware of how deep this conspiracy roots. However, your innocence on this matter
Are your parents directly involved with such machinations? And is that
Not intentionally. They were puppets for my cousin Plumbly, as she used whatever means available to her to ascend to power within the Concord. Such ignorance may be innocent. However, the effects of this, the damage that it is potential to cause to myself, to my people,
do they wish you ill because of your magic?
they do not know.
Perhaps they do now.
Regardless, were I to return, I would be no doubt married off to some higher up Bulbian, vegetarian, fructarian, bonded to the family, wrapped up in yet another political scheme, and have to fight my way out using any means available to me. It would be at risk for assassination.
But did you not say that it was Plumbly's plan to have you married off? Is that also the wish of your parents? If they are pawns, if they are uneducated, if they are innocent and naive of all of these things, would it not be prudent to tell them?
It is safer since they do not know.
I mean, certainly, but I'd say it'd be all the more dangerous for this to happen in the future as well. Would it not be... What if your parents were to be taken advantage of again?
They
Would it
already
not be-
are. And for them to fight back, especially at my grandmother's age, to try to argue and reason with her, there's no point. And to inform them, they will argue with me. If I am right and they listen, they will be killed. If I am wrong and they don't listen, then I will be killed.
Noble houses are usually not in danger of such wanton murder, or at least as far as I've heard.
It is not something talked about. There have been instances in my family as well. And if Watersteel is at the fingertips of this specific faction of Balbian assassins, then it is perhaps time that those arms were removed.
I move it down his shoulder.
Regardless, I don't think that my suspicion of, oh yes, what if they know you're here? So what they know you're here? They already seem to know. Killing this man won't fix that.
Perhaps
It'll
it does
only make
not.
another one dead.
I turn my sword. You would warn them of our
Oh.
presence here?
Of course not.
You would have them send forces after us?
No.
Then they
But
must
they
not.
know already.
Yes, and they are getting their information from him.
And as soon as we move and leave him behind, they will no longer know our location.
And if he ceases communication, they will send another. I think he is more useful alive and subjugated.
You look to me and you would have me speak now. I should not.
Wise choice.
He holds his tongue.
He's not a slow learner.
I also agree. He is more functional to protecting my lady if we use his current lines of communication to throw them off the trail.
What do you know?
We
if
may also
anything?
be able to learn more information from your family if they continue to send messages.
They have more men than just Sir Clovis. Perhaps Jacobi and your brother would like to be in charge of containing him?
We're bringing him with us.
Yes. However, he does need monitored.
All right.
What do you know, if anything, of these Watersteel armed men?
I would know nothing of such things.
I turn to Pungent Gold and I say, I'm so sorry, my love. You don't know what you've married into.
I don't get it, but that's okay.
But we'll say that if it was a political marriage you've ran away to avoid, looks at Pungent Gold.
They will not acknowledge this.
Oh yeah, we're married now.
Mhm.
That's official.
Did they get a smooch?
I did not get a smooch.
You get a little smooch.
Can I get a smooch?
You're like underneath me doing push-ups still.
Yes.
It's very, very stinky.
At this point, they are lying down on the ground, and you are sitting on top of them. This has been like 15 minutes worth of push-ups. They're tough, but at this point, they have taken a break.
We're just planking.
Just lying in a plank. Hope we don't have combat today. I can't get it to work.
It's okay. I think this is probably going to be roleplay heavy and
Theater of the mind.
Conspiring.
Theater of the mind.
theater of the mind and scheming of what do we do to move forward in this counteract of the political schemes.
What is your objective going to be from here out? Given that it behooves us not to execute you on the spot, which is my preference that you live, what would you intend to do?
That which I am told to do.
Then let me make a long-term proposition. Be it through the forces of water, steel, in the dark, or the forces of time, inevitably, the family of Marmalade will fall to this one. At which point, you, still being chronologically most likely fresh and not overripe, will be around, assuming that no one takes it into their hearts or hands to kill you. At that stage, your services to the house will have been viewed differently, rather than it being a good thing that you serve the old guard. It would be a good thing that you serve the new. Consider this perhaps a career opportunity.
You would have me swear a new oath to the future head of House Citrum.
I would. She is not disowned. She is simply elsewhere.
I could do this. Would I be forced to resign?
Business. And on behalf of the Queen Sakarina.
We have scrolls about it.
You're primarily
William VI doing just as well.
Good job, Abby.
I believe we are here primarily on behalf of Candia, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
Loyalty, but
well,
in a sense, she is the daughter of the current emperor, so it's, I assume, more or less aligned anyways, never mind.
there's some strong admitted political opportunities for Candians. But it is a real business. It concerns how power structures will fold into the empire.
There is, in fact, an agreement in place. Sakarina and I've made Her Highness aware of my situation. And should these lands be found inhabitable and agreeable to what's the word I'm looking for?
Thief forming?
Yes. Should
Inhabitable by fiefdom.
there will be a limited time period where this will be allowed to be an incorporated territory.
It's just this nasty blue light.
Fair enough.
Until such a
put that
time
down
that
just in
the
case.
kingdoms begin
Just in
taking place.
case.
We have some fun.
Before this happens, it is my intention to form an alliance with Candia and to offer my services and my experience in these political matters to establish rule over these new lands. Protection and sovereignty for Candia.
For Candia.
For Candia. The alliance is to host the throne and to the Fructerian bureaucracy and the bullshit that they forced me to put up with. I knew. Your alliances to the Empire do not pose any conflicts of interest to the situation. Your alliances to the family, however, do. Should you choose to adopt
That's good.
to adopt our mission of exploring these lands peacefully, without the conflict, the aggression, the what's the word I used before? Hot-headedness of the previous encounters. You swear your fealty to the new kingdom. You will not need to break your oath to Emperor Emissar. Merely, you will serve his interests by serving our interests.
I think that requires a persuasion check right there.
You can make it an advantage.
We have a point.
It is both a point and a weapon, which has a
Right.
point.
No, I'm keeping that. I have pretty strong persuasion and intimidation right now.
You're automatically at advantage. You don't need to use your inspiration.
Let's see. 22.
Nice.
You think that passes?
I'm pretty sure.
On a scale of 1 to 20, you think that passes? Were I freed from bond, I, though you do not have reason to trust, wish to addendum my oath to House Citron. Insofar as serving the eventual head of House Citron. This can be officiated, of course, by the presence of two separate nations being at the ceremony, as informal as it may be. And it is my best luck that we have both Fructera and Candians here at camp.
Ew.
So,
I guess in regards to that, I look to Tangerine with a small dagger to cut his bonds in a.
you'll be supervised.
I will always have a bond in my lady.
All right.
And I shuffle on over and I have claws out as I have a gentle but firm paw on his shoulder.
I have but one request. Might we leave this tent? My nose is harmed.
And the second is request.
Yes, I believe that would be wise.
Hicket has been making the stinky face.
The stinky face.
My poor Durian.
This is the most Pumbaa character I could have made.
Yes.
100%. Yes.
Oh
You
my
keep an
god.
eye on
You ever
him.
like seen how
Seriously,
cats
I have
like
to go.
gag? They go like
Yogurt cat. I've watched that video more than 100 times in my life. It's that good. It may have been on repeat while I cackled on the floor.
If I may, my lady, I believe that the Knights of Gumbar may be more suited to watching Sir Clovis of House Citron. It is my duty to ensure the health and safety of everyone in this camp.
And the greatest threat to the health and safety of everyone in this camp is this fellow right here.
I would say that those who have been known as necromancers may also pose a significant threat to us until we know for certain what their intentions are and where their morals lie.
Given your information, it makes more sense as to why they would be so stridently anti-Bulbian. That said, if they are raising an army of the undead, then we are just whittling away time before someone mantles a crusade and comes in here to kill everything. It is a question of their art being practiced versus the consequences of that coming down on everyone's head.
That's true.
I think if we spare the banana, which I recommend we do, it will have to be a conversation with our pumpkin guy as to what he's doing here, why he's doing it, and what his intentions truly are. It was a little evasive last time.
This is correct. You may have convinced me. However, at your recommendation, if I spare this man, and I look at him with the sword trembling in my hand. You will still need, yes, we will still need to discuss it with our new friends.
Yes.
For I'm certain that, actually, I suppose, will you be informing the church that we have necromancers in our party?
I do not believe doing so would be helpful in aiding the goal of this mission, which is exploration and protection.
I'm uncertain what elements of the church would be informable given this new information.
Yes, this indeed. From the other side, were we to send word of this situation to any branch, and it's for to travel to those who are making decisions, certainly, given that there is a noble who has deserted her post, there are outlaws roaming the lands with with so-called questionable magics, and zero information arriving from the present parties would look terribly suspicious.
Neither will.
In particular, to those who are worried about the threat of a newly forming empire, to those who are to retain their power, would seem uncomfortably as though perhaps we've had nefarious intentions of using this necromancy to establish new footholds, new powers within Calorum.
And your commission from the most actively publicly sorceresses of all available current celebrities makes it look a lot like we're establishing an independent sorcerer nation filled with necromancers and darkness.
She was the witch queen of Lost Secrotia before.
Yeah, it's not a great look.
And this will be the second iteration of that.
Jacoby, let me
Yes.
So uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes.
spin something past you.
Hmm.
The Reformed Bulbian Church. Thoughts?
You mean this nation becoming, or rather, an organization of such things? I would like you to be a little more specific about what you are proposing.
And more of an idea guy.
Out of character metagaming, essentially like how Protestant split from the church.
Yeah, I'm recommending you hard Martin Luther this because he knows he's
Branch
no
church.
church leader, but
Yeah.
from what he can tell, you might be.
Because this is a lawless land, so right now you
Yeah.
are the highest
Only
ranking
holy.
member of the church in all of this
The land.
new Candia.
Oh god.
And
How do you want to?
Gadivian
Be a
talks a
missionary.
good game, but isn't a real cleric.
Yeah.
Knows it, but you seem to be.
I think Jacoby looks like, I believe if we can come up with some form of code of magic regarding ethics, we could create something that looks similar enough to the church, but provides the freedom of practicing different kinds of magic. Potentially.
Perhaps magics were Bulbian all along.
You know, I think I can have made a convincing case as to that being.
I will be quite frank, I am still very uncomfortable with the concept of necromancers in this part. We don't know their intentions. What did they make the chocolate golem out of? How many did they kill to make that?
Probably at least 47, given the volume of the corpse.
That is
But,
what I'm saying. I know not if they're yet a threat or if maybe we were wrong to take them into our party as
To be fair, your chocolatiers did not seem to have a problem with Zigodum.
They also don't have a problem with bunch gold.
we also cannot tell their expressions. What if they were doing this out of fear?
It was protecting their village.
At least from a more animalistic standpoint, I did not sense fear.
From their expressionless faces, that's very
These are valid questions, and the only one that can answer them, other than the chocolatiers themselves, which I did not know how to communicate with, would be the patch himself. I
Yes.
recommend we cut him up next.
I agree. I would see fit to agree. It seems only fair in this conflict.
Do we do a
Yes.
cut?
Yeah.
And now it's
Smash
so
cut.
exactly
We
where
haven't
you
doing
were.
push-ups.
Okay.
All right, time for the push-ups again.
All right, more push-ups, buddy. You've got them. It's tradition now.
We literally just
Same
need to swap them out. We can
position.
use the same tent. We don't have to contaminate multiple tents.
If you watch movies, there's something known as like the Tarantino trunk shot, where it's everybody's
Yeah.
looking
At
downward
the trunk.
at a trunk or some sort of area,
Mm-hmm.
and the shot is exactly the same. Everybody there looking at thing, except now it's him. It's now
Now it's banana.
boys.
Yeah. We just approach him with the ropes. And all right, fair is fair, buddy. Get over here. Get in the tent.
Can't say it's the first time I've been tied up. Is it necessary? Am I?
Raises an eyebrow.
It's traditional.
In all fair, we would simply like to treat both parties as relatively fairly as we can, given the seriousness of the accusations that have arisen.
I won't argue, even though they did come to murder me. But I won't argue. I trust you.
Yes, and to be transparent, of the two parties, one of you tried to kill me 7 minutes ago. It wasn't,
And
I think,
I do
Yes, this is
appreciate
what
that. However,
I'm harping on, that
yes.
I did not try and murder anyone here.
deeply appreciated.
Yes.
But
I deeply appreciate the support in not letting me get murdered.
right, it's mutual ground that we can build on. But speaking of murders,
It is a goal of mine
The glue
to
just
prevent
peel
any
off.
and all
That's okay.
murders that would occur in this camp.
and it is a golem of yours that we are wondering what the body count was to create, because it seems to be conjured from the corpses of fallen.
That's fine. Please tie me up so that we can have this a conversation as equally as you would like.
God. I love how he's like, yeah, it's fine, that's fair.
It was consent.
At worst, I do have
Consent was
backup.
acquired, yeah.
I do have my cousins here in
Does
case things
Tabernacle
get
have
froggy.
experience?
The cousins stay outside the
Oh,
gate.
yeah.
Giant.
Rope tying in 5 weeks is a sleight of hand check.
Mhm.
Look at that score. Look at how good he is at the rope tie.
Plus
Damn.
at least 10.
It's actually quite comfortable.
It's kind of like a hut, actually.
This whole shibari
It's a
ass
shibari
mess.
ass.
Yes! It's much fancier than Sir Clovis's.
This is honestly a little sexy.
Yeah! It's just like, damn.
Dead boy. Yeah, but Percival is also a little more human than
Yes.
Clovis is, because Clovis is a sentient banana with a face on it, as opposed to
This has
Percival
joints and
has a
things.
real
Shoulders
humanoid
even.
face.
And
Makes
just
the
wears a
Taurus that
pumpkin
easy.
helmet, right?
Yeah, he just puts the pumpkin helmet on.
Yeah. I
So-
love that.
Necromancy. How's that doing?
Ah. It feels like those claims are unfounded, if we're going to be very honest.
Are they?
Necromancy?
Oh, this is not the first time I've heard something like that.
So you would claim yourself to not be a necromancer and that what Sir Clovis has been saying is entirely made of falsehoods.
I wouldn't go that far.
Because we did watch you
Sir
hit something.
Clovis is a known liar.
Sir Clovis is a known liar and is Balbian.
However, I would
clear that up.
I would say that in case there are some truth to what he is saying, I would
Mhm.
like to ensure that everyone in this camp is safe.
As is your duty, that is entirely fine. Necromancy is an ugly Balbian word, if we're going to be very frank.
I believe it is more of a technical term for raising things from the dead and using corpses as objects to dance for your whim.
This is close to what we're saying. The connotations of necromancy, the political image of necromancy is perhaps more Balbian influenced than it should be. Is it necromancy if you build a house out of trees? Because the trees were once alive.
We're getting the semantics of the food.
Are we getting into food? I love this! Finally! God, yes! Oh, sorry. I'm
It's
very
perfect.
excited for this.
It is very
It's
exciting.
I think Jacoby takes a minute. It was like,
You're speaking to the son of the Marquis. Of course, they're going to be very
yes.
semantic, wordy, politicky.
There is a question as to whether or not we are made of flesh, or the trees are made of flesh, or if we are made of tree, or
Answer the
There's-
question, how many died to create that golem?
that's a valid opener, really.
Yes, tell us about the golem, please.
How many died to make it?
More
I won't split hairs. Does it count if they're already dead, though?
By your hand or no?
No, they have a graveyard, and they allowed me access to such place. So they were dead, and I did use bodies to make it. But
You didn't kill anyone.
why would I kill them? I'm trying to defend them.
Jacoby looks a little confused at that.
How many bodies is in that thing?
I used up almost all of them. Maybe 50. I'm not a man of numbers.
So you came to some sort of agreement with the chocolatiers about
Desecrating their graves?
How do they consider the golem?
I would say they have it in positive regard as it defends them and obeys their whim.
How?
They are able, it was made in their image, it was made in their personage, so they have some kinship with it.
This is also interesting. The line of question of where these creatures originated from,
It does.
as if they truly arrived here from another plane of existence, is the concept of death even the same?
Perhaps they have different cultural connotations.
Nice.
Wait, you're the only one that we've encountered who's managed to communicate with these people. What is their history like? How far back does it go?
They are perhaps less than verbal. They are able to communicate intentions through Guys, please stop. Please stop ordering biscuits. He hasn't had a lunch break yet.
He's working hard to working.
My sweet son. What was the question?
How
they
far
can be
back does their history go?
They are perhaps less than communicable. I don't believe they have a language. Forgive me for using this less than couth word to describe their language. It's sort of like vibes. They sort of give you like an emotion or an energy or a request. They don't have a formal language.
Do they not? Huh.
Sort of a proto-language.
Do they have a concept of time?
Or death.
Do they have a calendar?
They have a concept of sadness. They have a concept of joy. They have a concept of the gamut of caloric emotions. They're able to communicate intention. They do not have formal words.
Is this the only settlement of these people?
That I have found in the months of being up here, yes.
This place has existed for a few months.
This place has existed for over a year.
Over a year?
The land
a
itself.
few months, I thought. Or
It's
wait,
been 1 year since
It
the
has
wish
been.
of Liam.
Yeah.
So this,
Okay.
by all technical specs, has been 1 year.
And if they originated with the land as it came to exist,
As far as I have dug through the mountains here in search of perhaps better answers,
Do they have a word for seasons? Or
No word.
rather,
they do have a word for change.
see,
A word?
They have an emotion for change,
gestures set.
something that represents something that was and now is something else.
as a practitioner of the magical arts,
I'm a huge fan.
do you have any sense of
Congratulations, by the way, on your marriage.
oh,
Your first marriage. You know you're allowed to do multiples of those if you're not Bulbian.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
A sense of the force that brought this land to existence?
I am merely guessing, an educated guess of someone who's been up here for perhaps 4, 5, 6 months now. It is my fondest wish and fancy that perhaps they came from where the wish had come from.
Which is where? Precisely. I mean,
The
I
wish came from the
Where's
sugar
the
plum
temple?
fairy. The
I
egg
see.
came from wherever Wilhelmina got that, which was at the sugar plum fairy's temple.
I see.
My fondest guess and wish is that this was the land of dreams that the sugar plum fairy once held in their divine domain.
So where did your magic come from? We've seen him use like very reminiscent of Candian magic.
Yes, it is clear that he has used Candian magic.
Where have you learned your magic? Where have you gathered your knowledge of necromancy? Who's taught you this?
In Candia, of course.
Where?
Are you one of what's
The
her name?
spinning star?
Order of the Spinning Star?
Order of the spinning star?
Lazuli.
Lazuli.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I know Lazuli directly. But the Order of the Spinning Star is more than willing to adopt people looking to learn honest magic. And I may or may not have been called, sort of personally, not actually, by the magics that they had.
What would have to change about the Bulbian Church for you to support and or tolerate them?
In the presence of two Bulbians, I should say less than I mean.
Given that we are going to be stuck far from authorities that are not blade-based for a very long time, be reasonably honest.
I think Jacoby glances at Lady Marmalade with the sword.
Some authorities are blade-based.
I'm making a sticky face. There's very low tolerance for Bulbian bullshit on my end at this point.
Stinky face. Not for the smell, but for
Not
the
for the smell,
bullshit.
Yeah.
If we are to be frank, and I am far from the hangman's noose of the pontifex, the ex-pontifex.
The pontifex should not be thought of as a representative of the church any longer.
There is a new one.
No,
There
yes.
always is a new one.
And
This
this
one
one
is
is-
devout, I hope. I imagine. I don't know. I haven't been there.
I hope so as well.
In regards to the Bulbian Church, the full dissolution and recreation of something that's less xenophobic would be my fondest wish.
I would agree. In my heart of hearts.
Dissolution of the entire current standing branch would tend to be a lot of bodies. Those bodies would tend to attract vengeance. And vengeance is like crusading under a different banner. What if instead we simply skip the dissolution and go to the solution of something else?
I like the wordplay. What would you say?
The Bulbian Church, from what we can tell, has been more than complicit in a series of problematic incidences that include everyone standing in his step. The Bulbian Church is also a bit of a jello. It oozes towards places it is not currently.
Like a disease, yes.
Yes. If we announce that this place is Bulbian Church free, that is just going to put a large sign on the territory that says, please crusade here.
That was the War of the Concord 1 year ago, yes.
Instead of that, we announce that this is a branch of Reformed Church, maybe?
I would like to create a place here where the less than tolerant branches of the church are not welcome, where magic can be practiced freely and within certain guidelines, of course. I don't want there to be wanton murder everywhere, but
They usually stay on the border of Silesia and the Midlands.
yes. Fucking damn it.
X.
Wanted.
Murder. No, please continue. I could not help
That was
myself.
perfect. That was wonderful. I want to create a place that is not tolerant of intolerance, if you will.
I would be less than an enemy of a new Bulbian agreement.
This act would likely ruffle the feathers of the hierarchy of the Bulbian Church. Very specifically, one hopes, the ones responsible for the water steel blades in the darkness that has been practiced previously. It
We'll
will
likely, yes.
draw.
We'll likely make new enemies, but if we can at least frame ourselves as a different sect, the same sect under different values.
No, not new. They will not be new enemies. They will simply be enemies that know us.
Yes.
This is to my goals. I wish this us.
Yes.
This is to my goals. I wish this enemy is known and drawn and dealt with.
Given
Of
the
course.
history of the Queen, Her Highness Sakarina Frostwhip, and her experiences with the church, the more open and accessible the church, these new branches, I think the more tolerant she will be for allowing it to exist within her kingdom. For, of course, the mere fact that she has allowed the church influence was a mystery to me in the first place.
She does have a dragon about it. That kind of helps.
I believe that
Right,
that may
right.
be one of the reasons why many of the other members of the church who had heard about this were hesitant to actually come and assist with the exploration of this new place.
Yes. If I'm quite honest, it's made me suspicious of your motives.
Being quite frank, I'm not here to tell people how to live their lives in a way that would. I'm not here to tell people that their way of life is foolish and that they should always follow mine. I'm simply here to make sure that the only thing that I want is to spread the idea of kindness in this world. Of
A quite interesting perspective for a Borbian missionary to have.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, the original perspective Logan missionaries did. There has been decay.
Unfortunately, it makes me incredibly sad to hear that the vast reputation of Bulbians has been somewhat akin to rather crusading warriors as opposed to those who would heal others in their time of need, as that is, well, a lot of what I was, well, some of what I was raised by. Those who are different are not very much tolerated even within the church.
I'm sure you
I'm
have
not-
experience with being different and in the church.
Yes. It has not been an easy time acquiring what little, I guess, standing I have within the church that I had. Not that it is much, but I certainly had to work twice as hard as many of others that I know of to get here. They don't like the way that I am. And I've sensed that, I know this. But sometimes you just need to put on a fake smile and do what you can for the greater good.
Tangeline stares intently at where a smile would be
Yeah.
on his face.
Yeah. No, like I will say, like when Jacoby's out and about and like interacting with people, they do have like some facsimile of a smile that just looks a little bit different.
That's quite almost.
Like they have a mouth that does move when they talk, but it's kind of clear that like that's not necessary. Like there's no like throat or
It's for your
esophagus.
comfort.
It's more of like it's actually more for the comfort of others.
Yeah,
than
that's
it's
what I'm
not-
saying. It's
yeah.
like wherever people are
It's
talking
for
about
everyone
stuff,
else's
it's for your
comfort. It's like this is so I don't yeah. It's like, for example, the shape changing into a meep on the grounds of the Bulbian church would have been regarded with quite less than kind understanding.
However,
I'm
it is
quite
a
shocked.
natural part of your physiology from what I've observed.
Quite, yes. So
I
that's
thought
not
that was
exactly
magic.
what.
Weird. Okay.
What?
I thought the shapeshifting was magical.
I'm not certain if it is or not. This is just how I've been. It's how I've always been. Before I could cast spells, I could just change shape. Not anything insane. And just like grows some wings. Like these will not. I will not take flight with these, but I can.
They're
That's more
quite
than
small
most.
compared to your large body.
Yes. It was just an example. I'm just like go back. I guess this is a large part of my desire to be somewhere outside of their reach and see what else is there in the world. Are there perhaps others like me, or those who draw their power from elsewhere, even?
Well, I think we've just discovered an entire new race of those.
Yes.
And this brings quite into question, I think, from a missionary perspective, a very valid motivation to bring back to the Bulby Church. You as a missionary have discovered these people cannot help it, like you cannot help your own physiology and differences.
Yes.
Therefore, applying the same rules and expectations of traditional Bulb missionary ways is not applicable here.
No, certainly not. Teaching High Bulbian to those without mouths does not seem like a
Does
very
not seem
productive
feasible.
practice.
And I may support that as I report on their physiology and culture being incompatible from what we know traditional as our way of life.
You're genuinely in this for the research, aren't you?
Yes.
And you were actually just trying to discover more about yourself, and you, when pressed with a life-threatening scenario, permanently changing your place in the world rather than hurt anyone you ran. None of you have killed anyone, have you?
No. My job is to help people and to save lives, not to.
I can
Okay.
bite and scratch.
That's
I
accurate.
sometimes poke.
That is definitely accurate.
It is.
Well, I need a new band of theories then.
I'm sorry, did we not actually say that? Cat realizes for the first time that he's been so focused on just doing research. He has not been suspicious of the party. He has just been doing research.
Is it perhaps possible for us to leave this rancid tent?
I think Jacoby is gonna go over to. There's like, have you killed anyone before?
I was in the Imperial Army before I deserted it, so yes.
I suppose that's fair. I suppose none of it was in cold blood either.
I suppose not.
Insight check.
None of you have even higher than this is.
Can you tell me
that's
what
not
that
even
says?
on the
I believe it's
agenda.
a 5.
Ah, nuts.
Plus, there's a number plus.
There's a number plus. It's an amount.
No, the people I tend to be around
a
are
10
already dead.
even.
by a
A
couple
10 and even
Right.
10.
Yeah.
You would rather
Let's roll a die.
But actually a nice bird.
Oh, I need to.
New
move
theories.
this
I
little
need
man.
entirely new theories.
Oh, cool.
That's a
What
number.
did you previously
We
assume?
had you all strapped up.
Kind of the opposite. Wondering.
This
Yeah.
fellow is creepy, only in so much that the aura about them at this point sort of oozes anti-tradition Baldian energies. They have sort of a menace to them that is very not Baldian.
He gives me the vibe of like Morgoth.
Yeah, right?
Like stringy hair.
Hot
looking.
topic and neon candy magic.
Like mom just doesn't understand me, so I'm gonna go hang out with my friends under the bridge.
It's not phase Pontifex.
Oh my god. His hair is just like those little curly pumpkin
Yes!
Uh-huh.
God, yes!
But they're all a little bit wilted.
I like Jon Snow hair when he's like extra dirty.
Real greasy. Greasy guy.
This person does have a Jon Snow-like appearance.
Homeboy has helmet
Sort
hair.
of helmet-haired back.
Mhm.
So, not necessarily a necromancer per se, but necromancy is an option that you use. So, all the accusations towards you are things like you go to great powerful spirits and
These are most of the accusations I'm going to say are true.
right. So
Yes.
I kind of want to know whose pool of power you're dipping into and what the cost of that is.
Rather personal.
Thought it might be. Tied you up first.
We're all very intimate here.
Right?
We are sharing a tent.
I've been genuinely thinking they've killed members of my family for like the last week.
The power that it comes from is not a specific person. Rather, it is from books and learned magics. Perhaps I would wish within my family that there is a knack for such learning that comes from being that which we are.
Mm.
I have a question.
Sorceress origins.
If You had begun learning magic after you had already fled the Imperial army and your homeland. Why are you wanted there? For specifically magic.
Most
I would
likely.
imagine that I am both wanted for being a deserter of the Imperial army, and I am also wanted because Vegetania. I have not been back to Vegetania, but Vegetania has been the same for the last 1,000 years. I would imagine that the more I learn magic, the less I am welcome in such places.
Tangerine visibly withholding a snarky comment about how we aren't sure his family wants him back and are worried about him.
The lowest statement.
Oh, Vegetania, that makes sense.
Vegetania
Right,
like
Vegetania.
magic.
Yeah.
Right.
They did mention that they had some liberties of being on the border of Syresia because pumpkin seed is technically a grain.
Weird.
So
Wild shit, that.
they are further from perhaps Bright Garden and I can't remember the name of the other one where
Oh, where it borders Candia.
there's the head of the Pontifex city and there's the head of the political government city. There's two. There's a king and there's a Pontifex.
Oh, yes.
I know Bright Garden is one of them. And I can't remember the other.
Green something?
Greenhold.
No.
Greenhold is
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, they are stationed. Pumpkin Patch is stationed fairly far from those places, just as a matter of what they've said, and why their family line would be further from stockball being folk.
So I've been here for a year, a little under. Do you know of any particular terrifying dark powers that roam the land?
There are these sort of goopy things that we call dollops.
We've encountered them, yes.
Yes.
It's where we found some of the first pumpkin seeds. Frittered about. There used to be more of you.
No, it has only been us.
Insight check?
Yes. Your insight check before was that they were being honest. They've never killed anyone with blood.
Entirely fair. God damn it, that's only a 9. My dice are not liking me
They're
today.
We found artifacts that seem to be correlated to the sugar plum fairy. Have you found any temples of hers?
Standing stones, yes, but she is gone as far as I am aware.
So that brings me to a population question. I have seen no baby little kisses walking around. And there were enough corpses in the graveyard to fill an entire golem. In
That
only
is-
1 year, I guarantee none of them have died from old age. So what is killing these people?
How many of them are there now?
Egg mat is so good.
Egg.
Egg.
How many is the population of the current, the chocolatiers? Roughly, as far as you know.
I'd say just under 300.
Alright.
They don't have many natural enemies here, as far as I'm aware.
And yet 6 of them have died within a year.
Again, perhaps in the land of dreams, there was a higher population or a lower population. They've only been here a year.
In fact, that might be a bit of research I must do on the golem if it would be allowed by the village. I can actually carbon dates in a way. Not
Oh.
carbon. I guess what would they be? Cocoa
Cocoa
dates.
dates. Cocoa dates.
Cocoa dates.
Like the little
How
rings on the
dusty
inside of a
is the
chocolate.
Cocoa
Yeah.
dates. The cocoa of how much powder has already been gathered and therefore aged on the bodies to see how old exactly are these corpses.
And what killed?
See,
Yes. What did seem to have... You're the one who had the most hands-on experience with the corpses. What did they look like before they went into the golem?
corpses.
Largely whole corpses.
Largely whole.
Well, As all
Perhaps they
things
are
go back to the
magically
ground,
preserved.
some were missing parts that perhaps the ground had taken back for its own.
Reasonable.
Ground is also cool.
The ground is also cocoa.
A confusing scenario we all live in.
Was there also
Yes,
there
I
any
will
other,
return as well.
any other creatures you've encountered other than Sid?
Oh, can I do a nature check? Because I would for sure be checking as we've been traveling and be
Absolutely.
recording exactly what creatures I've seen. Can I have D20?
Dice.
D20.
There are
The little
a
one?
few possibilities there. One of which they did not all pop in at the same age, but somehow inherited the chronology from this other place. The other is that something is killing them, or they are oddly malsuited for this transient. Nice.
Alrighty. That's a 20
Nice.
for recording nature
Yeah.
observations.
It's clear that this ecosystem has existed, but has gone through a dramatic change in the last year.
Recent.
Dramatic change where they have gone from perhaps being a bit more of a different biome, damp perhaps, like mountainous, and now it is more dry tundra.
Oh.
I guess from a Darwinian perspective, was it gradual mutation or was it like, wow, this is artificially mutated creatures?
Like there's a whole layer
Kind of
where
like,
it like drastically
have you seen,
changes.
Goodness, what am I thinking of? Annihilation? Have you seen Annihilation
I
before?
have not yet seen it.
It's
Essentially,
neat.
it's neat, but essentially, the biome itself mutates whatever lives in it.
It's
And-
fairly clear with your 20 and with some of the help of this individual who gives you more information on some of the deeper diggings around of creatures they've come across. Yeah, that is fairly accurate.
That
If
is
it
what's
has
happening.
not mutated in the last year to survive, then it is much, much less population as
Would
sort
I
of an
have noticed
extinction had occurred.
Migrations of creatures that I would have typically. Go ahead.
So, from what we know already that is canon about this world, like if like an apple pie like grows up in Candia, it could just become an apple pie a la mode sort of thing.
Yes.
So eating the food of a place does already slowly mutate a creature.
Okay, so eating and being of the biome does change your biology because you consume what becomes you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
You are what you eat.
You are what you eat. Okay, that is the
That is one of the
logic.
tenets of reality.
It
You
is
are
a
what
reality.
you eat.
Okay.
God, I love it.
Wow,
Ugh.
that is crazy. Okay, that's awesome, and I love that so much.
I know,
but, like,
right?
Okay.
Oh my
If
god.
a
If
meat
that is
lander
the
were to
case-
live in Candia, or to be stationed in Candia long enough,
Teriyaki.
they would become either candy bacon, teriyaki. There's a lot of meat landers in Candia, so
Yeah.
thankfully
Yeah.
that doesn't cross
And
over
bacon.
super
Oh, no,
lot.
there's definitely sweet.
No, there's
meats.
so much. There's so much
many
meat,
sweet meats.
and also like
Sweet
weird
Okay.
meat candy things. God.
Brown
Oh.
sugar pull from that.
Brown
Brown
sugar
sugar ham. Oh.
Damn, wow.
Let's
the
go and fight some of them.
implications.
Right?
Yeah,
The
big.
implications. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so I highly
Implications.
recommend we watch Annihilation
That sounds
because taking that logic and then seeing the absolute biological horror that can become.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I want to see this as well.
You haven't seen
No,
Annihilation?
I've
Oh,
not.
man, that has everyone.
It's
should
one of
tell
the
right
me.
here.
videos
I knew
I've
you
got
would
on DVD. It's the terrorizing.
It's terror. It's terror. Oh. But anyways,
Yeah.
with that in mind, I have so much interest in essentially Coco dating the golem
Yes.
to see when these corpses had died. So that tells me how long maybe has this culture existed even before the witch. Because if this is the one civilization that we have found so far,
Mhm.
I do consider, especially from like metagaming and anthropology, things like the ceremonial burying of dead signifies an actual culture and civilization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
know-
that's what Kit Kat's interested in.
I will also ask, what proportion have we already explored of this place?
You have made a beeline sort of through it. Your visual radius is about as far as you can really map out. So you've probably explored maybe 5-10% of it.
Yeah,
Ugh, there's so much to explore.
because we've only done a set path. Yeah.
Exactly. We have so much more that we can yet explore here as well.
I guess if we could take this time,
To leave the tent.
would we like to not just would leave the tent, but while we're discussing the land and what we've known so far, I would like to see if we can actually draw an actual map of like where are we, what have we discovered, and where's relations.
Yeah. Because Kit Kat's been cartography.
Because Kit Kat has been cartography. I don't have my map. Like I would be drawing it, but I don't have my stuff. So I would like to first visualize, agree upon a group of like, is this what's there? Okay, now I'll make that my
Fantastic. Yeah,
cartography map.
we can do that.
We don't need to do it right now, but I would love to take the time to do that sometime. Even
I'm
if it's
happy with
like,
it.
hang out, paint minis.
I would
and
love
we make a
that.
map.
And cartografies this part of the map.
In fact, this is for people, if you've never heard of this, if you've ever played The Quiet Year, fantastic
Love this
way
game.
Oh my
to
God.
build the actual map itself, even if it's just as a baseline.
I would be very happy to invite all of y'all and our potential new player.
Ooh, do we
Uh,
have ooh.
We discussed it. There's potentially the new
met
player,
Toby.
Toby.
Yeah,
You met
that's right.
Toby. And that would be a fantastic sort of intro day for us to play the Quiet Year and sort of build out Western Candia from an omnipotent knowledge. So at the start,
That
at the
seems
crux
like
of it.
a fun one-shot spin-off from
Yes.
this campaign.
I would enjoy that quite a bit.
Honestly, it would be really fun to just like have a. God, that would be such a fun session.
That would be great. I think that would be a little special.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it quite a bit.
Mm.
That being said,
I think we're done with the tent then.
Mhm.
Like
Cool.
we had no reason for
I think right
Yes.
before
Push-ups.
right before they untie
Stinky boy.
the Marquis Percival, the Marquis of Pumpkin Patch, Jacoby's just gonna like kind of like look Percival in the eye, and like for the first time ever, I think like take out a scythe and kind of like brandish it at them
Ooh.
and say,
What?
I need you to promise me that no matter what happens, you will keep in your best interest the health and survival of this traveling party.
so long as I am with you, I will do my best. And so long as I am far away, I will do my best as well.
Is that a yes?
That is a yes.
Okay, and they're just gonna take it and just drag the tip down and cut the ropes.
A different side to you, Jacoby.
Ooh,
Yes.
good job, Jacoby. Was that also when everyone else has left the tent and
Yes.
you stayed behind to
Yeah,
do that? Ooh,
absolutely.
So no one else has saw that. That is
Uh-huh.
a private side of Jacoby.
Spooky.
Mm-hmm.
So how did it go?
Oh
Yes,
yes,
Clovis.
This is Limey.
Oh yes, I believe it went well. I suppose we're traveling with both a very strict Bulbian and also a necromancer, and I hope it will go all right.
Necromancy. Now that's weird.
Yes. Sir Percival is at least knowledgeable. I don't know about the other two. Actually, asking Percival, like, just like, are the other two also trained in necromancy, or are they just what is their deal?
They have perhaps benefited from necromancy, in the strictest sense.
What does that mean? You worded that very specifically. I want you to clarify now.
They weren't bigger boys when they were younger. They perhaps had very specific nutrition that you would receive if you had incredibly strong bodily knowledge.
Did you feed them corpses?
I fed them nutrition that would not.
What
feed them
kind of
corpses.
nutrition, damn you?
The good juice kind? I don't know how specific we're going to try and get with
Good,
this.
good. That good.
Good.
I fed them soy and green.
Ah! God damn it! Those are corpses.
Them's is corpses.
People. Those is people. Oh, God. Alrighty then.
Then, if we
I'm
all
going to
agree-
pretend that perhaps we didn't talk about necromancy.
Yes, quite wise. Quite wise would be that. Just figured people ought to be aware in case any unfortunate incidents happen. They're just like rubbing their nose. But they're rubbing their nose, but their nose is way too flexible, so they're kind of like
It's
playing
just
with their nose like
moving their
Play-Doh,
nose
and it looks really fucked up.
That is
gross.
okay.
It's so gross.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Your ticks. Goopy.
Their fingers kind of meld with their nose.
Goopy.
What?
I'm sorry, I just love this weird, vaguely body horror themed character.
What do you feel when your fingertips are no longer tips? Like, is there a point at which you're like, oh, that's what the inside of my cheek feels like? Does it sort of redistribute onto the surface and you're feeling the air?
It just all kind of feels normal, I guess.
I guess that's how you describe that. Okay.
Okay.
Feels
What
normal.
do you feel when you rub the tip of your nose?
Skin.
Well, yes, I feel what is basically the surface of myself.
Right,
So,
and then I press, and then what I feel is pressure on the skin.
well, I feel it going into the surface.
Weirdly, that actually answers my question, because the question is like, does individual surface
Go
areas
into
feel, or does
It's
it
all just
redistribute?
kind
It's all you.
It's called, like everyone just has the same exact nerve endings everywhere, right?
No.
Right.
So,
So everyone is good. Right.
the peace agreement is, if I may, as follows. We are going to institute a local branch of the Balbian Church.
I'm joining.
Good call.
All right.
As a proud Balbian, I join.
Yes.
Sir Limey?
Sir Limey
Is Sir Limey not the specifically not Balbian, or is that Sir
I
Razzleberry?
believe it was Sir Razzleberry. who was like,
Okay.
that's bullshit.
Fair enough, reasonable.
So, under the new church, rather than kill a bunch of people for magic, it's going to be more of a promotional gig.
Razzleberry will love this.
Thought in mind.
That being said, perhaps we need to supply the new church in some way.
Yes.
It
It is my goal to come up with a code of conduct in terms of how one should use magic and what kinds of magic would be considered unacceptable. That is not simply anything that is not specifically Bulbian magic being unacceptable, because that's just too broad of a term.
This is your responsibility.
Yes,
Raza.
I
And
am-
Also, in addition to this code of conduct regarding strictly magic, we will also govern the behaviors and alliances.
Of course.
Let's
Naturally.
prioritize that, considering that we have a known defector,
Yeah.
Clovis.
Yes, of course.
Oh, not me.
Sir Percival.
Not Percival. Clovis. Yes.
Different flavors.
We perhaps. I'm going to be very frank with you. This is the length of the journey that we can make with the supplies that we brought. So this is as far as we can go if we do not start
Foraging?
foraging. And the Tartguard perhaps are not well suited for foraging.
No, indeed.
I'd say it was a successful expedition. We found quite a few things out here. And I vote, as a technical leader of the group, that we go back.
I say going back now with the knowledge and intention of creating a new venture for not just exploration, but the establishment of a mission.
I believe it is my opinion that we should keep rather more quiet about the addition of a new branch of the church that is too different from them, in order to avoid sparking any complications.
I would say
Otherwise, they will see no reason for us to return. We need to have a
Oh,
reason.
I see. I thought you were talking specifically about the Bulbian aspect. Never mind.
I
Yes,
would
we
say
are, technically.
We
Yes.
establish to the hierarchy of the church that this is a place that needs funding for a Balbian mission, led by
Yes.
yourself, of course.
The
I
location,
suppose.
the land itself needs protection from infiltration by those who would seek power. establishing the church
course.
in its new iteration is an establishment of a power that we can then defend, rather than have it be political interest.
I believe so, yes. It would be helpful if we could get supplies from various different resources. Jacoby just looks incredibly nervous at the concept of being put in power.
You basically should be put in power here.
Yeah! It's like, I suppose I don't know anyone else specifically who would have
No
the
one
time
else.
and
Were it up to me, I
abilities
would
to-
not be running a church out of many lands, regardless. So if this is your mission,
well, they're not your lands. Good to know. Well, luckily enough.
Wow, I didn't know you can fit your entire foot in your mouth, but the flexibility makes sense.
were
Necessarily,
you
I
absent
mean.
for the part where I explained that Sakarina and I have made an agreement?
Well, not yet, I mean.
That was
There, you do not want to be with your family. You don't want to be a part of any political marriage involving Vegetania or the Fructerans.
This is correct. I have experience with all of these realms. Exasperated.
Jacoby just kind of shrugs.
of course this is for the political advancement, for not just convenience of being away from a corrupt family, but for your own establishment.
Sakarina, well, okay. Forget meta for a second. Ruby, Sakarina's sister, is the reason that I'm here. And then Sakarina and I discussed privately that I would agree to join the adventure party and help her to disseminate all of the political alliances, because it is on the border of Candia and Fructera.
So
Which
it is for
is-
political reasons.
So it
Yeah.
is, yes.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That was, yes. So
Jacoby's
you
just being a little bit
Dense.
Jacoby's
Maybe,
a little bit dense in this moment.
Okay,
Like
I wasn't
viscous.
sure if it was
No.
a bold face, like,
is-
you're not in charge here, or...
More just like these seem to be rather wild and untamed lands. I am uncertain if you are in charge of here yet.
Being literal.
being
Yes.
literal.
Being incredibly literal. This is not a hike. Go for it. Go for it.
Okay.
I'm here for character tension.
You challenging my authority?
Well, I'm not the one who's challenging it. I mean, these are simply. It is 3 times the size of Candia, and we've only known 10% of it, even.
I would say about 5.
Yes, 5% of it.
If we could perhaps have this conversation while we pack up the Tartguard to go, then this would be good for the road.
Packing up the Tartguard just makes it just like getting their stack of Put them in the wagon.
Let's go!
And then that you, Reggie. Kior just comes in and there's like, cannonball!
Cure is the one stacking them.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
All right. As we are packing up, I think
Village. Pungent